بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. At this juncture of the revelation, we will see a new topic being discussed. This topic, we were given some glimpses about it in the previous chapters that we have discussed so far. Basically about the day of judgment. But it was presented so far that there will be retribution or consequences to our actions in this life. The same way you will see also consequences in this life. But this life is not really the end. But there will be another life, which is really an extension or a life at a higher level. There will be a higher level of creation. In other words, if Quran calls this life, the life will be in the absolute hayat, and it will become hayawan. Even the words, are really used to bring the understanding of something that is very abstract. It's coming in the future to closer to our comprehension and understanding. So the presentation has been in that fashion, that there will be suffering in this life if we take a certain direction, away from the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this suffering will also be seen in the next life. And we have seen verses talking about hellfire, naru jahannam, al-hutama, that the destruction that you have created for yourself here, it will be reflected in a suffering that will really be characterized by destruction. Al-hutama wama la yunbadanna fil hutama wama adraka mal hutama narullahi al-muqada. Those who were imprisoned in this life, they will be also besieged by hellfire in the day of judgment. So you can see how the day of judgment will be a reflection of the actions that people will take for themselves in this immediate life, dunya. The one that is closer. Hayatul dunya is really the life, the closest to us, which is the one that we are living. Al-akhirah, the one that is coming next to it. So, the same thing, we have seen those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do good deeds, they will be rewarded paradise. So this is how Al-Akhirah has been so far being presented. But what really happens? What type of transition will occur from that will indicate the movement from this life really to the next? So we will see that today's chapters and the ones that will come in the inshallah in the following weeks. And it's amazing. Like when I looked at the sequence of the chapters that have been revealed from now on, like Al-Qariah, Al-Zalzala, Al-Infitar, Al-Takwir, Al-Inshiqaq, all of them, we will see how they bring to us all these images and pictures that they will come together to see or to start imagining, okay, what are really the changes that will happen, that will indicate this a transition from this life really to the next. So how the two most important things that we will infer from these really chapters, and we will emphasize them over and over because this is very important, how this will impact our own life here. Because if the day of a judgment does not have any impact on our lives here, nobody will do anything about it. Nobody will invest in it. But you see what I mean? But the moment we understand how it will impact us, people will start really thinking about it, working towards it. Okay? Now, the first thing that we will really see is that these changes will be major changes. I will call them transformational changes, or in fact metamorphosis. There will be changes that will, as if it may look to us as things will be destroyed, but not, the destruction is not the aim. The destruction, okay, is not the purpose, but to show us that things will be changed in a way that will pave the way for a creation at a higher level. Quran later will summarize it or encapsulate it in this verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. This earth, it will remain earth, but it will be completely different earth. The heavens will be heavens, but they will be different heavens. تُبَدَّلُ. So this, and undergo metamorphosis or transformational change, significant changes that to the point that we will say, the human beings will say, this is not the earth that we know it. This is a new earth. The heavens are a new heavens. These are not the heavens that we know. No, despite the majesty that today we know about our own universe, but it will be transformed in a way, okay, to be at a higher level of creation. So this is Al-Akhirah. This is the absolute life, the life of absolute reality. Okay? So the changes that Quran will be talking about, okay, will be really significant and transformational and changes. I will call them real metamorphosis. That makes sense to you? So now what we are going to see, okay, how Quran will use the words, selected, very well selected words from the language that the people know, but they will be the closest to describe the new changes. And will bring along with, because these words will bring along with them their tone, their rhythm, their tune, okay? The pictures that will create in our imagination will create these pictures or these images that will come together to give us an idea, to the point that it becomes as if it is a reality before us. Give you a simple example. You are all familiar with prominent poets and writers. Okay? Again, Quran is a different genre. Okay? And the author is not a human being. Allah. But let us just bring an example closer to to us, okay? Because from it you can see what may be something really bigger. If a poet tries to describe something that is happening inside him or her, okay, nobody can see it. It's very abstract. It's very subjective. What if that poet tries really to bring a new idea that is very abstract, okay? What they will use? They will use something tangible, okay? Bring a picture or an image from the universe, you see what I mean? From nature, something that bring that idea closer to the comprehension of the people. So the words the poet will choose will be very well chosen, and they will be very well crafted together in order to bring that issue. And this is how we basically judge who is really the best among these poets, is the one that will really bring the best image to bring an idea or to describe an emotion that would be very difficult to talk about it, except to bring these really images that come together, shoulder each other to give us really this picture, and then we know now what that poet tries really to bring to us. No question that we will see in these verses lot of poetics, all these images, okay, that Quran will bring along with the words crafted together in order to the point that although it is something that will come in the future and nobody will know exactly what it is because nobody has experienced that, but the description is strong enough to make it vivid, as if it is something happening, and with the repetition, even something that is very abstract is brought to closer and closer to the comprehension and the understanding of them. Even people who have low level of abstraction, they were able really like to as if the day of judgment has become part of their life. This is the power of these verses, or how we need to understand them and approach them to see the power in them to bring a very difficult abstract idea like the day of judgment, to see it as if it is really a reality before your own eyes. And Quran will bring things that are to a certain extent familiar to us. For example, earthquakes are familiar to us. But again, think about it as if these are really glimpses of what may happen during we have seen it not long time ago, just a week ago, we saw. It's an unfortunate tragedy, okay, no question about it. And our hearts will go out to those who were in the eye of that calamity. But I'm saying that just take this, what happened, it is just a glimpse of what may happen in the day of judgment with this major metamorphosis. We see how things will change within, how long it took, 2 minutes? And 2 minutes we saw how much destruction have really happened, or the changes significantly to the point that people didn't know. I know this is the neighborhood where I live, but I don't know where is my house, or the house of my relatives, or my family, or some. I mean, it is a tragedy, but it gives again us like make the understanding of these major changes that Quran will talk about closer. So Quran will use later in the next chapter, زلزلت الأرض زلزالها. Zilzal is earthquake. You see what I mean? So but it will be a major earthquake. And we will describe how Quran put it, okay, in that very short I mean, again, a chapter, but it is very telling, okay, to the point that you can understand what is going really to happen. Nobody knows one. What we know, what Quran tells us about these significant really changes. The second thing that is very important for us to realize and really understand, and I think this idea will spend a few minutes, but it's very important, okay, to bring it really across. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created man to be on this earth, in order for the human being to carry on, human beings to carry on their project on this planet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the appropriate ingredients in order to do that. So the whole universe, okay, was created in a way to respond to the human being's questions and actions. Imagine that we live in a universe that does not respond to us. I won't like to plant something and nothing will come out. Just imagine that you live in a universe and you want to sustain yourself and it is not really responding. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that He created this universe under the order to respond to the requests and the questions of the human beings who will live on it. And when you see that you ask the universe and it's not responding to you, you should not question that the universe is like deceiving you or not responding to you. No, you have to question your question. However, really you put the right question to the universe. Have you seen somebody in the lab saying, okay, I did this experiment and I did not get the right answer? Have you seen anybody saying, oh, the universe is wrong, I am right? No, they will say, oh, I have to go back, okay, and revise what I have basically done, okay, and adjust and correct and adjust until the universe respond in the right way to us. So the universe is under this order to respond to us. And Quran put it in a way that this applies to everybody. This response from the universe is given to everybody, regardless of that person, language, nationality, religion, beliefs. That has nothing to do with that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it available to everybody. كُلًّا, listen to this. كُلًّا نُمِدُّ هَؤُلَاءِ وَهَؤُلَاءِ مِنْ عَطَاءِ رَبِّكَ. This is a grant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made everybody equal in like getting from this grant depending on the level of the question that they ask this universe. You see, so we have given this blessing that this universe responds to us. But if I sit idle and don't extend my hand to this universe, the universe will not give me. It is very generous, but it needs somebody to ask. And it is under the order to respond. You get that? Now, the same thing when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the sustenance, food that has been created in this existence for whoever lives on it to be sustained. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, سَوَاءً لِلسَّائِلِينَ. It will be given equally to all those who ask. But if I don't ask, I will not get anything. And if I ask the wrong question, I will not get it. Okay? So if I want the bread, I will not find it in my backyard. Is that right?
Yeah.
But if I know what the bread really needs, and I get all the ingredients and put them together in the right measures and everything, the bread will be ready for me. But if I ask for something using the wrong tool or the wrong resource, I will not get it. So, as we said, that the universe is under that order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to respond to the quest and the questions of the human beings. But at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us through these verses that we will be discussing that this is not going to be forever. The same way the universe is under that order to give, it is also under an order at certain point in time to stop giving back to us, to respond to us. This is when these changes occur. It is really an indication for whoever witnessed these changes that the universe from now on is not going to respond to you. No matter how good is your question, it is not going to respond to you. So when should we ask our questions? Now. You see, where is the responsibility of the human being lies? Now you have to take advantage because the universe is still responding to you. But once the order comes for the universe to stop, which the indications to us when these changes occur, then there will be no response. So take heed of that, as if Quran is telling us, take heed of that, and remember that this is now the time available to you to ask your questions and to get the answers. Because there will be a time when the universe is not going to respond to you. This is when the time for this life is up, and there will be a new life. So I think this is very, very important for us to realize, okay, that this is really important to know that this is really the time that we need to ask our questions and refine our questions in order to get better and better answers that will make our life easier and better. But if we do not ask or we do not refine our questions, and this is the difference between those who create and those who do not, those who invent and those who do not, okay? Those who, why there are countries that have become industrial and they invent on daily basis? Because they are asking the right questions to the universe, and the universe doesn't care. If you are from the east or from the west, from the north or from the south, doesn't care. Because it is under that order from Allah to respond to whoever asks the right question. But it is up to us to ask ourselves, have we asked the universe around us the right questions? And in what direction we are putting these actions? Because again, there will be time when the universe, and the Prophet Muhammad put it very nicely in this report that is ascribed to him, alayhi salatu wassalam, that he is really addressing every one of us, that if you are really carrying the plant, or the seed for a palm tree, as an example, because this is what people have, palm trees, they are familiar with it. So he brought an example of what they basically are familiar with. So he is telling them, if you are carrying in your hand, okay, the seed of the palm tree, go ahead and you know that the day of judgment is imminent, but it has not happened yet. But there is some indication that it is very imminent. Muhammad ﷺ would say, go ahead and plant it. You still have these probably short time, and you may know that the palm tree, as we learned from people in agriculture, it takes long time to give you the results or the fruits. Okay? But Muhammad ﷺ is saying you need to work till the last breath, till the last minute. Still the universe is going to respond to you. But once the day of judgment starts, there will be no more response. The changes that we are going to talk about are really the indications that the time is really up. The universe will be going into all these changes, and it will not respond to you anymore. It is now the time. Take advantage of it till the last second. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So with this, let us now approach the verses. Surah Al-Qariah, and it starts with this really word, Al-Qariah. Al-Qariah is really and generally is used to talk about a calamity. Something big happens. Okay? But Quran here is using it in the absolute. So the huge calamity will be at the beginning of the new life or the day of judgment. The verb itself, qara'a, it's like when you knock or you are really playing the drums. قُرِعَتِ الطُّبُولِ. This is when you are really hitting on and playing the drums. So, as if there is really an even sound coming along with it to indicate that there is something huge going to start. So even the word itself, as we said earlier, the words are very well chosen to bring along with them not the audio, but also not only the visual, but also the audio part of it. What you will be seeing, what you will be hearing, okay, what you will be experiencing and feeling, so that Quran is really like talking to all our senses in order like to make this image vivid before our own eyes. So Quran will be calling this day where the changes are going to happen Al-Qariah. Mal-Qariah. What is this day? As if this is what people experience this will be asking. What is this that is happening to us? What are really these changes mean? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْقَارِعَةُ. Because nobody has really experienced that metamorphosis, these significant transformational changes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْقَارِعَةُ. Have you really conceived what is this day mean? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْقَارِعَةُ. It's like Al-Qariah, Mal-Qariah, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا-الْقَارِعَةُ. So it's bringing or attracting our attention. Okay, what is this really significant change that will really happen to this creation that we know? Quran will start giving us these images. يَوْمَ يَكُونُ النَّاسُ كَالْفَرَاشِ الْمَبْثُوثِ. People will look like this, like the moth. You know, like when you are in the forest and you have like a fire and you see the moth coming. I mean, you will be able to see it. But it's nothing. It's really spread all over. Okay? So the people will look like that, as if they're going around in confusion. What is going on? Okay? You are talking people. I mean, all the people will be really like wandering around, okay, in confusion. What is happening? And to the point that nothing is responding. You see what I mean? You probably click on your thing for your car and the car will not open. Probably the car is not there anymore. I mean, things are not really responding to you in any way or shape. So people will be like wandering around like in maximum really confusion. Even the huge creations like the mountains themselves, وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْعِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ. This, I mean, solid structure, huge, will become like a fluffy wool, like flying around you. But I mean, this huge structure that was really responsible for the stability of the earth itself, now has been destroyed. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْجِبَالِ فَقُلْ يَنْسِفُهَا رَبِّي نَسْفًا. As if it has been as if it exploded. يَنْسِفُهَا. It's like, and then there will be nothing really elevated above the surface of the earth. So you can imagine, okay, like huge changes. I mean, it is very difficult for us like to imagine a mountain crumbling. But in that day, this, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, will really happen. Again, indicating that these changes are not only significant and huge, and indicating that a new creation is going to come to existence at a higher level, okay? But also, it will not be the same universe that was responding to us. It will not really, at that moment, there will be no response anymore. And here, this is the day of absolute justice. This is the day of retribution. This is the day when people will see the consequences of their actions in this life. Those who took advantage of their presence in this life and really believed in the day of judgment, and the day of judgment was present in their life. They feel as if they are really living in it. They are in this life, but within a bigger life. You remember what we said about the chick inside the shell of the egg. Imagine that chick is aware of the surrounding. The chick will think that this is his reality, that is really bounded by the shell. But once it hatches, it finds itself in a bigger world. But from the beginning, this egg was inside that bigger. So the same thing, we live in this life, but there is a shell that separates us from a bigger life. We are still within it. You see what I mean? But we will not see it until that shell breaks. Then we see, oh my God, we are really living in a different world now. It's a bigger world at a higher level of creation. So, in other words, how the day of judgment, or the presence of the day of judgment, will be equal to the presence of this life in the day of a judgment. You see how the Quranic view of the life, of this life and the life to come, there is no separation. In fact, we created that separation. You see, by this cover, okay? And I remember a saying of Imam Ali that we need like to break that veil that separates us with our own nails. So in order really like to realize that although we live in this life, but this life is part of a bigger life. Hayat is part of this hayawan. You see what I mean? So there will be really no distinction. Then I will not really say, oh, now I am doing this for this life, and I am taking another action to be for the day of a judgment. But what we are trying to say here is that how we can change this mentality, okay, of this separation between this life and the next, to see that they are really connected and one is really an extension to the other. Every time I act, I have to realize that this action will be good for this life, and as a result, it will be an investment for the next. So the presence, again, of the day of judgment in this life will be equal to the presence of this life and the day of a judgment. To the point that we are going to see what we have done here in the day of a judgment. So it will be present. What we do here, it will be present in the next life. And according to it will be judged. فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. Those who really were investing in this life through their good deeds, okay, this will make their balance tipping in their favor. فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ. So they will be given a life, and the interesting thing that Quran will not say that you will be pleased in this life. That life is the one that is pleased, as if like it is pleased to give you everything you want, to serve you. It is, you see, فَهُوَ عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ. The Isha, the life, the new life that will be given to you, it will be pleased to serve you, to make you pleased. But it's beautiful that the action is given to the life itself, or that description is given to the life itself. Isha Radiya. Usually you say the human being, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased, or that. No, here the life itself that is given to those who did good, it will be as if like when you say, I am pleased to serve you, or to wait on you. Okay, so this is how this life will be basically pleased to make those who win that place pleased. On the other hand, those whose actions tip the balance in the other direction, they did not bring anything of weight, okay, of value. خفت موازين. There is nothing to put in that balance. Everything will be against them. فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ. أمه, mother. Is mother. One of the meanings is mother. Okay? But now, our mothers who like to embrace us and enfold us, now, who is enfolding and embracing? Hawi. the abyss of the hellfire will be their mother. You see the description? So in other words, that the punishment will be very like adherent to, as if the punishment is embracing, the hellfire, the suffering is embracing them. The same way their mothers used to embrace them or enfold them. You see how the description is bringing really a picture that we are all familiar with. Okay, but it is also very similar to that the hellfire has become the siege, because they have lived under a siege or in a prison in this life. We kept saying that our role in this life to keep emancipating ourselves from all the prisons, including the prison of the self, which is the strongest. Everything that comes between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or anything that delay that journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why even La ilaha, the way we express our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is started by negation. That you need to remove every aspect of how you imagine the God. You have to take it out to free that way towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So illallah is preceded by la ilaha. You have to negate everything that may come between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order for the path towards Allah to be. But this is not, it's easy to say it, but it requires continuous struggle from second to second sometimes. Okay, because again, the temptations are so many and the prisons are so many, including the prison of the self itself, our ego. Okay, because as someone put it, this is the strongest because you are the prison, you are the prisoner, and you are the jailer at the same time. This is why it is the most difficult prison. There is no other prison that has all these elements coming together. You see how it is difficult to emancipate ourselves from our own selves.
Jihading yourself, right?
Yeah, so it's a continuous strive. Okay, because in every moment there is something that has the potential to come between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That acts as an idol, that acts as a God, that may really divert us from the real God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, like we said so before, عَلَيْهِمْ نَارٌ مُؤْصَدَةٌ. It's like engulfing them. This hellfire will be engulfing them. وَإِنَّ جَهَنَّمَ لَمُحِيطَةٌ بِالْكَافِرِينَ. Muhita, like encompassing them, enfolding them, embracing them, because this is a reflection of the type of life they lived in this life, in this closer life. You see what I mean? So this is what I'm trying to show you, that the day of judgment is a reflection of this life. If you live a life of high values, you will be given Jannah Ali. Is that if you live as we saw it, the lowest of the low, you will be in Hawiyah, in the abyss. That will take you very down. في الدرك الأسفل. You see, all these pictures come together again to help us understand, okay, what type of life we need to live here that will be reflected in a good life in the next, which is really the true life, hayawan, or the life in the absolute. Or also another meaning for is really our forehead. Ras. You see? So what does that really mean? Ummuhu hawi. So their forehead, which means that they will be fallen on their heads. Because they were living a life where they, instead of walking on their feet, they are walking on their heads, meaning misguided. You see, the picture is also very telling, okay? That if we live in this life misguided, أفمن يمشي مكبا على وجهه أهدى أم من يمشي سويا على صراط مستقيم? Who will be really will be better guided? Somebody who is walking on a straight path, knowing from where he or she starts and where is their destination, or somebody who is really confused, as if he is like walking on their faces. مكبا على وجهه. So that would be reflected in the day of judgment. أمه هاوية. So they will be diving, if you like, falling on their heads into the abyss. وما أدراك ما هي. What is this هاوية? Do you have any concept? Have you conceived what is this هاوية that will bring you down? You see, and Quran always talk about these, that what brings the human being down, or the struggle of how to prevent the fall. The same way we fell from day one, from the paradise, from the garden. Okay? So how we can come back and regain that garden? If we continue to fall, we'll be trying to solve the problem by the same mistake. Cannot happen. And we need to adjust. We need to repent. We need to transcend or prevent the fall in order to regain the garden. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا هِيَ نَارٌ حَامِيَةٌ. So narun hamiya, the hellfire, and Quran will emphasize that it will be very, very hot, because immediately when you say nar, you know that it should be hot. But again, to emphasize the magnitude of type of punishment or suffering, if you like, that place will give to who unfortunately to those who are really unfortunate and go into that place. So you can see again how these images really come together, which is new now. We have not seen that in the previous chapters, but we will see more and more of these images again to bring the day of judgment very close to our comprehension, as if it is we are seeing it before our own eyes. The words, the pictures, the tone, the tune, the rhythm, all these elements come together shoulder to shoulder in order really because it is very difficult, it's not easy to bring something very abstract to our comprehension, okay, unless you bring all these images and in a very poetic way in order really to, as if we are seeing it vivid and real before our own eyes. The next surah is Al-Zalzala, which is number 99. Two chapters before this one. And it gives us also another image. Okay, if that was talking about what happened to the people, what happened to the mountains, here we see the earth itself. As we said, the earth is also is under the order to give us in this life every time we ask it, okay? But at the same time, it is also under an order for at one point in time to stop responding. And it is very beautifully really portrayed to us in this also short surah. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زَلْزَالَهَا. When the earth starts shaking, but really the ultimate shake. And as I said earlier, it is these unfortunate tragedies that we see, I mean, causing destruction and loss of life, they are just glimpses of what will happen during, again, this time of metamorphosis that we talked about earlier. So the earth will shake in a way it's the ultimate shake. Zilzala. That is really like the order that is given to the earth to as if it is like its final action. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. And the earth will, as if it is like putting out everything inside it. Not only metals and all these resources that we have been using, but also the humans and all these creatures that have been buried inside this earth. It's our really true mother. Okay, we came from it and we go back to it, and during this time of metamorphosis, and as a result of this ultimate shake and like quake, the earth will bring out everything that has been inside it, to the point that the human beings start asking, وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. What is going on? Why it is doing it? Again, here, if you try to try to do something, ask the place surrounding you to respond to, there will be no response. You plant and there is nothing coming out. You see what I mean? Anything you want to do, the whole characteristics that you know about this physical world around you has changed. No more time for response. As if we have lost the time where we can see a consequence to our really own actions, or a response to our own really actions. So يومئذ تحدث أخبارها. Even the earth itself, because we walk on it, we live on it. So as if the earth can tell everything that happened on it. Start telling all these stories that we think that, they are in the past and nobody will know about them. It seems not, my dear brothers and sisters. Even the earth itself, the same way our own bodies will speak on our behalf, even the earth that we walk on it will also speak and tell everything that has happened on all these actions that have been taken place during this life. Why? And this is the verse that supports what we were talking about. بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى. So the same way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created the earth and heavens, were under this order, under this wahi, okay, to respond to the human actions, to respond to our questions, to our quests, okay, سواء للسائلين. Now there is the earth is also under an order at one point in time not to do not to respond anymore. But it will really like start really behaving in completely different way. It's not the same. تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ. It's a different earth. Not the earth that we are familiar with really now. يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالًا. So this is really now the day where people will come out to see the consequences and the results of their own actions. And لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالًا. We are going to see our own actions and what are the consequences of these actions. You see how this life will be present in the day of judgment. We will see it. And Quran will go further and say, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Mithqal, the smallest thing that you can think of. If it's a good action, we will see it. And we will see its consequence on that day. And if we have done, no matter how small it is, a bad action, also we will see. We will see. Yura. You will see and find. You will see and find your actions and the consequences of these actions. And let me ask you this question. Does these two verses mention about does it describe that human being? No. It's completely universal. Whoever does good thing, he will see it as a good action in the day of a judgment. Quran is not talking about believers or nothing of that. It is in a very universal tone. Applies to everybody. So do not underestimate or try not to appreciate what others may do. If it is a good action, appreciate it, no matter who does it. You see, it's the action. If the action itself is good, accept it because it is good. Regardless who is the person who is really, learn from it. If that becomes really a common value, I would love to see it happening. Let me ask you, where do you like your children to be raised? Don't you like them to be raised in an environment where really good deeds are more than bad deeds? Regardless who are doing it, but this is the environment that I like for my kids. You send them to a school which has the lowest really incident of really like bad actions or behavior. Is that right? You will not send them to a school that you know that has very bad reputation where like drugs and alcohol and are really like very like prevailing and prominent. Just as an example. No, you say, no, this is not the environment for my kids. But I know this is a place where really the people have the same concern. The parents have the same concern like mine. They are really concerned about and they are very vigilant, along with the management and the administration of that school, to keep these things at minimum. This is the environment that I definitely would prefer. Regardless, okay, what you call this. It's unfortunate, like today we start really like emphasizing more the labels more than the actual actions. To the point that sometimes, just because it is called like an Islamic, it immediately should mean that it is really fine and everything is rosy. Or let the actions speak for themselves and tell me if this is really in accordance with the values of Islam, which are really universal values. Have you seen anybody saying lying is better than saying the truth? Have you seen somebody saying that oppression is better than justice, or injustice is better than justice? If we reach that level, there is no meaning for our life. Wherever you are, it has no meaning. You see, so this is why Quran refer to them as ma'roof, universally known. These good actions that stem from or governed by these high and noble values are universal, apply for everybody. And this, you can see it in this verse very explicit. With فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, whoever, doesn't say anything, doesn't give any adjective. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. No, we take unfortunately the action or the job that it is not given to us. It's not our job to judge. It's not my job to judge. Okay, I judge the action itself, if it really fits the value or not. I accept it on that basis or reject it on that basis. But what will happen to that person? This is not my job. عليك البلاء علينا الحساب. Your job to relay the message, to remind the people. Is that right? To advise them, to admonish them. But it is not your job to judge them. The judgment is for us. علينا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the judgment is for me, belongs to me, not to you. And we have reversed it today. We don't really emphasize the action, we emphasize the judgment. We don't emphasize the message itself, we emphasize more. It's not your job. Your job how to relay the message by your actions, by your good words. Okay, this is your job. And believe me, people are not blind. People, I'm talking about the overwhelming majority of the people, the masses. Okay, they are not blind. They immediately say this is a good human being based on what they have experienced. If you were good to them, they will say, this person was very good. They will not really start, why this person is doing this? They may question it at the beginning, but if they see it happening repeatedly, because this is akhlaq. Akhlaq is something that has become your second nature. It's not like one time event. No, it is happening all the time. It has become part of your creation. Khalq and akhlaq are very close. Even in the etymologically, linguistically, very close. The same letters. Khalq and khuluq are the same letters even. So if an action is being repeatedly done, it becomes your second nature. It become part and adherent of your own creation. You see how beautiful it is? So people will see it. And they will say this action is really good. That makes someone a good person. Regardless. Again, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, whoever does a good thing, no matter how small it is, it will be seen on that day. And the same thing, whoever does bad thing, it will really show on the day of judgment, no matter how small really it is. So you see how In other words, do not underestimate any good action, no matter how small it is, even if it is a smile and the face of your fellow human being, your brother or sister. Okay? Do not underestimate its value. You see, be generous about it. Do it. You see, don't be stingy about it. No matter how small may it look, but it will have a lot of impact in this life and in the hereafter. To the point that Muhammad ﷺ called it sadaqah. It becomes like equivalent to paying a charity. It's really more than, sadaqah is more than paying a charity. It's really more that it is really authenticating your own belief. You see what I mean? So it's even at the same time, do not underestimate these small infractions like in our own deeds. No matter how small, but they may accumulate. A small diversion may take us very far from the path eventually, if it continues. So one has to be very vigilant also about it, because it will be present in the day of judgment. Yes, please.
So just going back to the surah, it is the language. It's interesting. It's saying Liora, which has like to be shown, and it has also like a collective showing. So it says يَسْرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا. So there is still on that day you are not gonna be. Everybody will be shown, but it looks like it's not on an individual basis. So the collective people will be shown. The good and the bad, like not on a single basis. It's groups of people you will be shown. So I wonder if this education, even at that moment, I mean, it's يوم تزرع كل مرضعة مع مرضعة ووضع ربع ازاي حمل حملها وضرب مثلا سكرها ومهم سكرها, but still there is a collective time that you're going to be shown. It's still to show. It's not individual. That's, I think.
I think I'm happy that you brought this, because in fact it was on my mind, because and really what Brother Ashraf is really trying to say here. In fact, there has been this, we have inherited. Let me put it this way: we inherited the idea that we will be only judged as individuals. And Quran will say that, okay? وَلَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Okay? Individuals, as individuals. But unfortunately, we do not look at other verses like these ones that will be in the plural. وَتَرَى كُلَّ أُمَّةٍ جَاثِيَةٍ كل أمة تدعى إلى كتابها. Also as a nation, as a group, we will be also judged. Let me give you a small example from our own life. In your own job, how they judge you, how they evaluate you and me, as individual, but also as part of the team. Is that right? So the same thing also, we have to keep that in mind, that the judgment of our actions in this life and in the hereafter, both individual and corporate. As individuals, we are responsible as individuals, but we are also responsible as a group. Because if I am good by myself and I ignore the society, whatever happens to that society, suffer it will be on me. In order really to prevent that, I have to have this corporate or societal responsibility. وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. when if the consequence of oppression will not be only on the oppressors, but those who accepted the oppression. You see what I mean? The way to prevent it is really to stand up to oppression, not to accept it. Because don't think that if you are good and just, that this suffering will not reach you. It will also reach you, because your responsibility is not only at the individual level, but also at the corporate level or societal level. And the day of judgment, we will come as individuals, but at the same time, there is an element of judgment as a group, as a team, as a nation. وَتَرَى كُلَّ أُمَّةٍ جَاثِيَةٍ كُلُّ أُمَّةٍ تُدْعَى إِلَى كِتَابِهَا. Yes?
I think that the final judgment is individual. The collective judgment is historical. It is not on the whole. When Quran is referring to that each nation or each ummah will be brought, or prophet will be, or each prophet will be shaheed upon this group. So it is a kind of recognition of groups basically, given that what they were given as a particular followers of the Sharia, followers of the law, followers of the Prophet. So each prophet then there is basically witness against them. And but here it comes as the collective judgment is historical. Quran always refers that every Qariah or every nation or every that basically has to go through his two judgments. One is the historical judgment, which is in this life. And final judgment is purely individual. There, for example, the collection of the whole Muslim community are not going to affect me. But Muslims standing all together there because they are the followers of Muhammad, and Muhammad ﷺ as being witness to over them, that if we are talking that collection is a different thing. But the collective action of the people has no bearing upon me on the final day of the judgment.
Yeah, but you see, Dr. Asi, is even as individual, with my responsibility towards my own society or the society that I lived in, okay? I mean, it definitely, eventually it will be an individual, okay, responsibility. But that part of that responsibility is not what I was doing to myself.
Oh yeah.
But what I am,
how I affect the
because that's the verse. وَتَرَى كُلَّ أُمَّةٍ. It's talking about the day of judgment. الْيَوْمَ تُجْزَوْنَ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. So your book as a nation also will be brought. You see what I mean? So eventually, each one of us will be judged individually. But part of that judgment will be that I also was part of a group, as a team. That's what.
The part of the group only reflects in terms of your action, and also the part of the group in terms of that basically it is like a kind of groups and groups coming, because each has its own time period, each has its own history, each has its own kind of...
Yes.
So in that sense, that for example, all the followers of this prophet and followers of that prophet and followers of that prophet, as Ummah are standing there, and that's why that these prophets are witness over. But how, in other words, they acted in history, is not going to affect the person, because that has affected already their history.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
So the historical judgment,
Yes.
so that's the reason that when the judgment is talked about, there is two aspects of judgment. One is the historical judgment, which continuously is going on, and that's the reason that what is happening to us today is sort of historical judgment, that we are going through these kind of changes and kind of challenges. And that is what brings the communities up and down.
Yeah.
That the whole, in other words, cycle of kind of, you could say, going up and down. But as far as, and that's the reason here, there is no reference to collectivity. It is just, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, whoever does, and again, yara, he will see. So the collective judgment is historical, not a final. And that is final here because we are basically being changed and have been changed now.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you.
Thank you.